All right, here we are. Hello, everyone. Hello, Martin. Especially, I see you found us on YouTube and other people who are joining us there. Apologies for the delay. Do you hear that? Because I sure do. So we know that's working. Love it. Love it. Love it. So here we are live, and I'm here today with Tom Jepson. So this is going to be a fantastic episode. Thanks for warming up the chats with the emojis. We're having a little bit of technical troubles with LinkedIn, but that's not going to stop us today. Not at all. And Tom just asked, shall I comment on LinkedIn with the YouTube link? Yes, please. Let's get people here live if we can. I would love that. Welcome them to the party, right? Let's get this party going. So speaking of which party is this? Elizabeth, I'm so glad you asked. I'm so glad you asked. This is LinkedIn Live, LinkedIn strategy, even though we're not getting live on LinkedIn, and it's what's first. Today, my guest, as I mentioned, is Tom Jepson. He is a business wrangling coach for awesomely creative solopreneurs, helping you get unstuck and take action. I've spoken to a few of you registered for this event before the event, so I know this is going to be something you're looking forward to and will benefit from. And to use his words, he's flying the flag for parent carers everywhere. Yes, we'll talk more about that in a minute. And if we haven't met before, hi, I'm Elizabeth, and I'm joining you live from Vienna, Austria. I'm a verbal branding expert empowering my clients to show up and speak up as confident leaders to expand their influence. So it's all about using your voice, your words, your story to influence others. So why should you be joining us here today? Today we are talking about what is first in your life and taking a serious look at the most common barriers that could be killing your career today and what you can do about it. So without further ado, I would like to welcome my guest Tom to the stage.
Here we are.
Boom! Here we are. Welcome.
We're in.
And so I'm welcoming you to the stage. And if you think that this sounds interesting, valuable, if you think that you have friends on LinkedIn that want to hear this and are looking for this, bring them over here or wherever you are watching this so that they can join this conversation together with us. Now, Tom, for someone just joining us now, just clicking in because, hey, even we were late today, right? So no judgment there. For someone just joining us now, trying to understand who you are, what you do, what you offer, what do you think they're going to get from this conversation today?
What are they going to get? Well, they're going to get a slice of slightly radical candor about running your own business. They're going to get a bucket load of motivation because people who are self-employed, they deserve that. And yeah, they might get a different take on a few topics that we may or may not cover over the next 45 minutes.
I'm here for it. I think that's the word you use, and I love it. Let's see where this wild roller coaster goes.
This is it. This is it. Because even the best planning tends to go off the rails, and we're here for that.
Thankfully, sometimes. So back to my questions. Now, one thing I like to have in my shows, and usually on LinkedIn, I have a few more people present, but Martin's here. Martin is engaging with us. And so I have a question for him very specifically, because I'm very thankful you, and there are a few other viewers I can see here now. When you think about sharing your story or deciding what's first for you, but like when you think about all these things, which cat are you? We have the catometer here. How are you feeling about telling your story and saying who you are and what you do? In fact, Tom, maybe you want to answer that. Which of these kitties are you?
Today, I'm a B.
You're a B? You're feeling B?
I'm a B today. It's taken a long time to get to that B, but I'm a B. Some days I'm an A, some days I'm a C, but today I'm a B.
You're
How about
feeling
you?
Oh
How about
my
you?
goodness. I would say at first, when I first started my business and first started telling my story, I was like, oh, this is going to be great. I'm going to be a bee. It's no problem. But I very quickly fell into C zone, like, and when I saw what other people are doing, and
Mm,
it very quickly fell into C. And then I kind of hid in A. But now I'm definitely feeling more B, especially since July's around the corner. July, I'm always a B.
I like that.
That's my
I like
month.
it's the turning point month, isn't it?
I love it. I love it. The sunshine.
Yeah.
Everyone just seems a bit more relaxed. There's ice cream. What can go wrong?
Very little when there's ice cream involved, unless you're lactose intolerant, in which case dairy-free ice cream, but I found a really good one, so it's fine.
Ooh, do you have a tip you can share with us?
I can't remember the brand of it, but it's a Scandinavian thing, and if you're in the UK, you can find it in Sainsbury's. There we go.
Maybe you can give a
I'll find the
photo or a
link.
link afterwards.
Yeah, I'll put it in the comments afterwards because honestly, it's really good.
That could be a summer changer. Like,
For sure, for
yeah,
sure.
my
For
I
those
have
who are vegans,
yep.
you know,
Yep,
it's good.
and yeah, vegan ice cream is so good. We have a place around the corner. But let's get to you and your story. I'm going to take the cat-o-meter down, but even if you're watching this on the replay, go ahead and vote for which kitty are you when it comes to sharing your story, sharing your opinions, your voice, you're putting yourself out there. Which kitty are you? Because we will see that and still interact and continue this conversation with you. So don't hold back in that area. Great. So let's dig into your story, Tom. So you recently shared a deeply personal article on LinkedIn, and I applaud you for that.
Thank you.
And there's going to be a link for that in the comments. I don't have that now, but I will do that afterwards. Now, but help me understand more about this story. And for maybe someone who hasn't read it, do you want to just kind of give a brief?
Yeah,
What is your story?
I'll give you the 411 there. Okay, so I am self-employed. I've been self-employed for the last 6 years. Prior to that, I was regular employed. Um, and I have been doing freelance work for the last, well, goodness knows how long, 10 plus, 15 plus years. Because despite this visage, I am, a little into my 40s now. And I have a child who has a very, very rare genetic disability. So that makes me not only his dad, but I'm also his carer.
Yeah, you mentioned about flying the parent carer flag. Can you
Mm,
give us some insight in that for maybe some parents who are like, well, of course I'm the carer. What does that mean? Like, what?
yeah,
Pull back
absolutely.
the curtain on that for us a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So I need to, I don't want to be guarded or careful about what I say because I don't feel there's any need to be, but I don't want to speak in a way which is exclusionary of people. Because
Mhm.
somebody actually asked me this question on LinkedIn the other day. They said sort of like, so what do you mean parent carer? Um, and for me, like the definition of a carer would be for somebody who is unable to care for themselves.
So this
Of
is
course,
beyond the
this is
standard 10-year-old parenting caring because they still
this
need
is
care.
Oh, of course they do. Of course they do. But this extends into additional responsibilities, which you, in my scenario, you did not, you didn't put that on the application form for parenthood. But it happened. We were delivered the extra gift, and it is a gift because I have learned more things in the last 14 years about acceptance and tolerance and difference and understanding
And inclusion,
than
probably.
and inclusion and accessibility and
Mm.
awareness than I could have done having two, neurotypical, developmentally typical children.
Right.
So I have one who is straight down the middle, straight as an arrow, sharp as a tack, funny as you like. And I've got another one who is also smart as you like, really funny, but has conditions which mean he is unable to walk, he is unable to talk, he cannot do things like go to the bathroom by himself, he can't feed himself. Um, so it comes coupled with an additional layer or 6 of challenges, which make
And
up
learning.
a lot of learning. I'm
Yeah.
still and there's no done for this either. This is this
Yeah.
is new stuff every day. Um, and so the parental carer or the parent carer, that boundary is very much mushed together for me. Um, some days it swings one way, some days it swings another way. If we
Can
have
wait, before you swinging, I got lost. What does that
yeah.
mean?
So some days I might be like, right, let's go and do fun dad stuff today. And I try and do that every day because I like to embrace the silly very much so with the kids. But other days there will be things on the carer side of stuff with like some of the icky things that I have to deal with. But there's a lot more of that and a lot more maneuvering and lifting and ferrying to and from appointments and things. And there's no real boundary to these things. But my energy may be in a different place depending on what day you speak to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I just wonder, without getting too personal, but I also wonder with my own child, because I'm also a parent. um at each age and stage there comes a desire for more independence.
Hmm.
And I know she often compares herself. Just this morning, she saw two children walking to school by themselves, and she's like, "Well, that's what I want to do too." And I'm like, "Yeah, maybe your school's next to their house and yours isn't."
Yeah.
But she doesn't understand that. She just sees, "I want this," uh, seeing it from a different perspective than I do. Is that a topic that I just must imagine must be big?
That is extremely pertinent, and actually, it's a conversation I had with somebody in my support network this morning. Was about the independence battle, and I
Yeah,
use the word battle. I pick my words there. It is a battle some days because any parent knows that their child eventually would like to do their own thing. It happens. This is what happens with parenting, right? You raise your kids to be beautiful, independent people.
I think that was part of the contract we all signed, right?
Yeah, we agreed to
That was
that.
the
That
yeah.
was the one of the headline news pieces of raising a child is that you bring them up to be a functioning member of society.
In
Um,
theory, you let go at some point.
yeah, apparently. But when you have a child who is different
Mhm.
and the world is not equipped for them, yet they are, to many degrees, a normal 14-year-old boy with 14-year-old hormones and the desires to be independent and free of mum and dad and, all of that jazz,
And
there are
I would even say
struggles.
identifies as a normal person, because the thinking.
I see, we don't know
Okay.
because he's nonverbal. He doesn't have language, but I'm sure that he acknowledges, and I feel badly speaking about him in the third person when he's not here, but he acknowledges, and I'm sure that other parents of children in a similar situation would say, well, they will probably know that there are differences between them and their peers, them and their siblings,
Mhm.
but there are still desires there to not have somebody tell you when it's time. Can we just go to the bathroom and just go and check? We don't need to go, or you haven't had a drink for a couple of hours. Probably you have a drink now.
Yeah,
Um, let's go upstairs because it's time to go to bed. Can I help you get up the stairs? That kind of stuff, which for a child who is able to maneuver themselves into those things and consider that as a need for themselves, they will just do it.
right.
But when you prompt somebody, especially somebody with raging hormones, it's it's a fiery concoction. Um, and it's all consuming. It's
And
all consuming.
how much training have you had for this? You mentioned that you do have a support network, which sounds like a wonderful idea, but how much background training? Did you have any experience prior to becoming a father?
Zero.
Okay.
Zilch. Zip. Nada. Like, we don't get trained for this. You do not get, I mean, nobody gets trained to be a parent anyway.
No,
All those like happy parent, happy baby books.
no.
I'm not going to do a swear, but it's all guff. Like, it is absolute nonsense. Like, you cannot prepare for this role other than looking after yourself, looking after your child, and getting stuck in.
I like that, and I love the way that you said looking after yourself first, because that's a common. I'm involved with quite a number of parent groups and
Mm.
professionals with kids and groups like this, and that is a it sounds like, well, no, duh, of course, take the airplane
Ah,
thing for yourself, but no, this is needs to be repeated so many times, doesn't it?
100%. It's like, so you consider anyone who's done anything around kind of behavioral psychology or user experience design, any of that, you'll get Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? The little pyramid with all the things that human beings need to do stuff. The base level is effectively, can I sustain life? And if you are broken, if your body hurts, if you are feeling under the weather, if you are hungry or thirsty, you, parent, you can't function.
No.
Like, I have, we mentioned support networks. So I have a physiotherapist because my back is shot, like
Oh dear.
absolutely
Yeah.
wrecked. I have a therapist, full stop, because we have to take care of some of the stuff we can't say to other people. You know, my wife is at the top of this list of support people, not only because we're in this together, but because she is also works in the education system and has a lot more hands-on experience with children with different needs. And I can
Yeah.
soak in,
Yeah.
and as hard as it is for me to be told what to do, I
I
can soak
wonder,
it.
so you're saying you connect with your son about that feeling there, that not yeah,
uh,
yeah. It's totally understandable.
I'm a
Yeah.
41-year-old child. Come on, this is like, men don't grow up. um but it's it's something about it. It's acknowledging that actually you're allowed to build yourself this little network of people, and often those closest to you who are in it with you are the ones whose experience we may forget.
Yeah.
um and I am taught a
That's
lot
key.
day to day. Like, I am taught so much by everyone. My clients teach me things. That's why I work with them. It's like, I'm not an expert in them or their businesses. That's why I want to work with them. They can teach me stuff. But to a same degree, this entire world that I have wrapped around me, on which everything else sits, like, it all makes the big picture very, very interesting and very, very exciting and terrifying and tiring and
All the
upsetting and
feelings.
everything. Like, this is my life is the equivalent of Inside Out on the emotional spectrum. It's like
Oh, no. The
everything
first or the
everywhere all at
second?
once. Let's both together, like all the things together. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it's just, honestly, and I will say this with no guardrails, life's really hard. Full
You can
stop.
say that again.
Life is really hard. My life is hard. Your life is hard. You
Yeah.
work for yourself and you have children. It's hard. You are somebody who lives with a parent, and you're caring upwards rather than downwards.
Also
And
hard.
that in itself is another dynamic. I don't understand that dynamic, but that was a conversation I had with someone this
Yes.
week. They said, "Oh, I'm not sure if I'm a carer. I live with a parent who's in old age and they need," like, of course you're a carer. You're looking after someone else's needs, the fundamental needs. And anyone who is doing anything of that ilk is under pressure.
Yeah. And probably under pressure, probably undervalued, underappreciated.
I'm very lucky that I can turn to people and they say, "You know what, you're doing a good job."
Thank you for that. That is good. That's essential.
And other people might not
And
have
you
that.
And you said you've created this support network. It sounds like this was something you've done intentionally for yourself. You weren't like signed up for a group and were handed this package. Is
Oh,
that
no.
correct? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, again, you don't get,
Mm-mm.
and it's taken a long time. You get to a place where you realize you need it, but you don't act on it.
Mm-hmm.
We live on LinkedIn, right? We basically we spend our lives when we're not doing family stuff at the hub of our business, the hub of our communication in 2024. It's LinkedIn,
Yeah.
and LinkedIn. And I'm sorry for anyone who loves it and determines it to be the be all and end all of things. It's great, but it is not connection.
Mm.
This,
Speaking of which, connection, not connection with LinkedIn. I am in conversation with the StreamYard connection team or support team right now, and they are having problems. Their engineers are working to reconnect LinkedIn. So
all right. So it wasn't an us thing. At least that's well, at least we can say rather you than me. So,
my
um,
hands are clean.
yeah, let's just hold those up. Jazz hands for everybody.
But
But
you were leading up to a really good point, and I
I was
interrupted you. Can we back up
no, it's
a bit?
we'll go on it. I'm Captain Tangent, so don't worry about it. Um, Building the support network. Okay, LinkedIn, it's great. We live our lives on there. We share content. We try and be as open and honest and as authentic as possible. I don't like that word. I don't use it for myself. I'm not trying to be authentic. This is what you get.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't me being authentic. This is just me. The
Yeah.
same as this is just you and this is just everyone else.
With lots of jazz hands.
With lots of jazz hands, we speak with our hands. And
Yeah.
LinkedIn, like, isn't I thought that I had connection. I thought I had community. I thought I had network. Like, it's fine, but it isn't, because really people don't know you.
Mm.
Until I shared the article about the life of a solopreneur carer, somebody who is self-employed and has built a business around life, not a work-life balance. Like, this is life, full stop.
Yeah.
And
You don't
until
get
I
to call
shared that,
out of the carer, call
uh-uh,
in a sick day.
no, you don't, unfortunately.
No.
And I know that many people in my own kind of personal connections and networks will know that acutely. Some have children with different needs, some have children with more severe needs, some have
Okay.
older children, younger children. We don't get a day off. You don't get a day. I mean, to be fair, parents don't get a day off anyway. Anyone with children, especially young children, they don't get a day off.
Mm-mm.
So shout out, big salute to all parents everywhere.
And we
Um,
need you, parents. Like, how many countries
ah,
are doing campaigns for people to have children? Like, we need the next generation,
yeah, but it should be
but we don't
acknowledged.
support you.
Exactly. So we need to come around to this
Yes.
idea that we must build our own support networks. And, if it is sharing a DM with somebody on an almost anonymous social media platform, fine. But for me, I have grown into a very small number of excellent groups, including, I'm going to shout out the Creative Collective. Martin, who was in the chat, heads that, along with Ben Bowles, and they have built this wonderful community of creative people
And
who,
Martin, you can put a link down now if you're
yeah,
still
Martin, share the
live.
link,
Go ahead,
everyone,
share the link. Because
everyone.
exactly what Tom is saying, this LinkedIn is wonderful. I've been able to connect with people like Tom,
Mhm.
like Claire, like so many people that I've been interviewing and interacting with. But it's those connections when we get to meet person to person, face to
Mhm.
face, and
Yeah.
be in that energy together and have those deeper conversations. For me, that's where the treasures are.
This is it. I've never met anyone like actual, like, skin on skin contact. We haven't shared a high five in person, but every 2 weeks, every 2 weeks we meet on Zoom. I've got them all in my pocket on the WhatsApps, and we share voice notes. And
Yes.
some of the group I play Dungeons and Dragons with, every 2 weeks we get together and make stories together, and we have a heart-centric connection. And the same goes, my physiotherapist, we're not on the same level, but it's another person who actually understands a very specific part of my life
Yeah.
and is able to help me with that. My talking supporter, she knows many details, and we that gets the job done.
Yeah.
And it becomes that safe space for that. So there's a lot of need, really, to get out there and find what you actually need in connection, in support, in network, rather than just having X number of followers. And I'm not going to
Yeah.
go on that tangent because I'm
Actually,
realizing
you're
that I'm too old. I'm past that now. Like, I'm past it.
but actually it's interesting too, your train of thought there triggered two thoughts and two memories in my mind. The first is
Mm,
when I was in college, which is university in European standards. So I was like in my late teen years, early 20s, and I was really confused about connection and people knowing me and seeing me and connecting with me. And intimacy actually was what the psychologist I was speaking with said. She said intimacy is a really long big word, and there's all these different letters in it, and it's I-N-T, and spelled it out, intimacy. And she said, and you are struggling because you can't find one person to give you all of that. And I said, yeah. And she said, but that's so many different pieces. Why not look for, and no one can give you all of that. She said, I'm sorry, you'll be looking for the rest of your life. But
mm,
look for someone who can find an I, who can give you the I. And if you find someone who can give you the N, treasure that. Even if it's just for, crossing in the night and you just know each other for a short time, you get that N connection and all
mm.
the different letters. And that actually was a mindset shift for me
Yeah,
to help
absolutely.
me appreciate the different pieces of connection we can find in our lives at different times in different spaces. And I love this idea of the voice notes that you're sharing.
Yeah.
Even if you can't meet up at the same time of day because whatever reasons, because life, you have the voice notes.
Mm,
And I share this as well. Actually, COVID times really pushed me in this regard. I had a toddler at home and everything was, "Arr,
yeah.
arr." I don't know
Yeah.
about where you live, but here it was, "Arr." And those voice notes became a lifesaver. I felt
Mm,
seen, even if I wasn't seen. Sometimes it was a video call, and heard. And I was
that's
able
it.
to see and hear others as well, wherever you are in whatever space you're in. So that was a huge
Mm,
insight
100%.
for me.
I
Yeah.
think that's what people desire more than anything else, is just to feel seen and heard.
Seen,
And
heard, and connected.
yeah, one of the little abstract thoughts thinking about intimacy is there's no you in it.
Mm.
So it's something which is maybe given,
Yeah.
and it's very hard to connect with it yourself in the ways
Hmm.
which you need it.
Interesting. But I'm a huge fan of self-love. So
You do have to look after yourself.
yeah,
You gotta take care of number one.
it's coming full circle back to that.
For real, absolutely it is. And I mean, and this is another reason why I do what I do professionally, is because people who are in a similar boat, maybe not a carer, but they've got responsibilities, they have children, they
Pressures.
have pressures, whatever it is,
Yes.
they have a finite amount of time to develop and deliver their thing.
Yes.
Because when you're self-employed, it is your thing. It's yours. No one else can tell you how to do it. It's yours, but you don't have a lot of time to do it. And that's why I work with these people, to help them really get the most out of the time they do have, and to let go of things which they're really using as a yardstick to beat themselves.
Oh dear. That is
It ha-
an image that, yeah.
mm. Well, it's the old. I can't. I've got a visual which is no good for a medium on which I'm not using visuals, but it's like the old, zealots whipping themselves,
Mhm.
like, for the betterment of whatever. We don't need to
Doesn't
do
help.
that. It
Doesn't
doesn't
help.
help. No, absolutely not.
I want to circle back to a comment you made when we were preparing for this conversation. So before
Go
we
for it.
were live, and you said we were having talks, and you said everyone's something is something.
Yep.
And I found that so relatable because certainly when someone gives a very dramatic story or tells of extraordinary circumstances or something just very extreme, sometimes it feels unrelatable. But
Mm,
I think the point that we both kind of agreed on is that everyone has something. And you said life is hard. And I've had so many conversations this past 2 weeks of people who are married, people who are not married, people who are looking for relationships, people who have relationships, who want relationships, who don't want relationships, who want out of a relationship, who I think whatever way it is hard.
yeah.
So everyone's something is something. And I think that's an area we can all relate to. And the fact is that I believe, and I think you would agree with me on this one, is that people deserve support.
100%. And I think to kind of yes and that,
Please.
it's acknowledging that everyone's something is something. It's
Yeah.
great. It's okay to say it, but I'm trying not to use the word need or must because that's something that I try and shake out of people. But it's something which we could all do with doing a little bit more, is acknowledging that everyone's something is something. Even if it is you ran out of coffee first thing in the morning and it really set you up on a bad one for the day, or you had to go out and take the dog for a walk at 5 a.m. and it was chucking it down with rain, or you had a child who has been kicking and screaming and refusing to go to the bathroom, and you need to get them
Mm,
out of the house in the space of 15 minutes because their
yeah.
bus transport is coming. you know
Yeah.
Whatever degree that presents in, the space and the emotion and the reaction is real.
Yes.
It might be short
Yes.
thing, it might be an ongoing sustained something. It might be bubbling along underneath, really, really low key with all the volume turned down, but it's still there. So,
And sometimes it's that little thing that just yeah, and I think most of us can relate to that also when we are in environments where we're around other people, either
mm,
coworkers for those who are in a co-working space or a space where you're working with other people or even clients or partners or people you live with or people you interact with on a daily basis and one little thing happens and we can either see either I myself have that bubbling thing that or they do and it's having the space and understanding that it's not just this thing. It's everyone's something is something. I like
mm,
that. And one thing I really like about Tom and why I asked him specifically to do this live session with me is because I see him, and I think most people will agree with me that you are a coach who is uniquely positioned to meet people where they are and how they are in that moment.
oh,
So, if that sounds like something you want, which I think we all should want that because we all do deserve support. Tom, if someone is resonating with that and that makes them say yes, Tom, how do you want people to continue this conversation with you
oh,
after the live is over?
after we're done, LinkedIn is the best place. And I know I was went on a little thing about connecting on LinkedIn, but that's where we start the conversation. I mean, I love email. So, you can email me. I'm going to say I'm not going to make evergreen content, but hello@tomjepsoncreative.com is my email address. It has been for years and it will be the same for years. You can email me. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. You can comment on a post and say, hey, could we talk? I will find you and I will pick up that burden of conversation from you.
I
But
agree. That's how we
we just
connected.
this is it. This is exactly it. This is it. It's like, do you want to do this? I'm like, hey, that's a great idea. But it just starts with the most difficult step, which is going, hi, can we have a conversation, please?
Yes.
That's
I
it.
have the links for Tom here, and I'm going to put them in the chat while he's finishing that. There we go. They're all
There
in
we
the
go.
chat. Additionally, I would like to encourage all of you, because my mission is to empower you to do live events. Every single person listening or watching this, to do live events, to use your voice and share your story, basically to make the world a better place, right? Listening to Tom and Tom's story has helped me tremendously, and I imagine it's helped all of you as well. So if you want to join me in making the world a better place, I have low aspirations here, clearly. I welcome you to join me with live events, and I'm going to add this to the stage here. You can either use the QR code. I have a Go Live with Ease diagnostic quiz. It takes less than 3 minutes, some quick questions, and you get a personalized report about the 4 pillars of what you need to go live. I know it looks like I don't know what I'm talking about today because I'm not actually connecting with LinkedIn. However, that troubleshooting is part of that, and being prepared for troubleshooting and still going on with the conversation, because that's what's the most important, I believe, connecting with real people and having meaningful conversations. I'll also put the link for that in the chat because I know you may not want to use the QR code. So, oh, that came up again. Sorry. Yes. Super. So I'll leave that up. And Tom, do you have any closing words for us today to wrap this up?
So, as soon as you said that, I thought of the Dumbledore in Harry Potter saying things like toaster, eggplant, jelly, but I'm not going to. Honestly, one of the thoughts which I hang my hat on, this hat specifically, because I like this one, is that you may have anything, but you cannot have everything. And understanding for yourself, and this takes work. I'm not saying this is going to be just grab it off the shelf.
Yeah.
Understanding what that bucket of anything looks like for you is really important, because for me, the bucket of anything which is available to me isn't very big.
Mm-hmm.
There aren't really that many things in there these days which I can easily pull out and run off and do. But I am very content on Thursday, the 27th of June, with the things which are available to me. And anything in that space, I can have that. So understand for yourself what that anything looks like. Knock everything else off the table and really get to doing.
That's your first. What is first?
That's it.
That's it. And you've told me before that you really focus in on that and then build all the other Lego pieces around it.
Heck yeah, absolutely. This is it. It's like, why do we do what we do? But what's the stuff that is getting in the way? What are you trying to hold on to that is stopping you from hanging on to the things that you A, can do, B, want to do, and C, need to do? There's very few things I believe that anyone needs to do other than sustain a livable environment and make sure they're reasonably healthy.
Yeah, this was the Maslow's triangle.
The Maslow triangle, like the stuff at the bottom, that's where we got to be.
Yeah.
Really making sure that stuff's met, and then everything else can stack on top. So yeah, just understand what your bucket of anything is, and
I know.
I help with that.
Yeah, you're so
There we go.
set up for that. And I know many conversations I have, the distractions, the extra stuff that gets in the way are often just stories, recorded scripts of what it should be, how it should
Yeah.
be done, what I should be doing. And you said you just always battle that out. Well, it has to be this way. I should be married by X age, or I should have
Yeah.
this many kids, or I should have this kind of income, or I should have this kind of position.
Mm.
And that's not
And
what's first. It can't be what's first.
no, because you then ask yourself, you should be. Should you? Tell me more about that.
Yeah.
And you peel it back.
And get to the heart of what it really is.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I wish that we were on LinkedIn right now so we could have a live conversation in the comments with all the people who signed up and had very, very important questions to be asking about this.
Yeah.
However, due to the mix up with LinkedIn, we'll have to think about if we can revisit this conversation. I know you have a tight schedule, but we'll have to.
I'm always up for a part 2 because there's always more to explore. And even if we started with the same question, the conversation would not be the same.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Yeah, you're dropping so much gold here. I feel privileged to be in this room with you right now. A friend of mine, Michelle, said a very important quote. She said, "Great minds meet in small rooms." So
I
when
love that.
I'm in a small room with a great mind, I feel very privileged and thankful for that opportunity.
Well, thank you for allowing me into the space with you.
Yay. And with that, I need to move on to my first priority, which is my family. And so we
Absolutely.
are moving on with the time. Thank you so much today, Tom. Thank you also, Martin, who made the journey over to YouTube to join us live. So much appreciate you. And I hope you will drop the link in later, maybe when you watch the replay, or Tom, maybe you can drop that link in to help
I
promote
will.
as well.
Yes. I'll say it again, creative collective. If you are a creative person looking for community with like minds, get involved in that because
That's the
everyone there is
space for
awesome.
you.
That they are your people. They are your people. So
Awesome.
there we go.
So good to hear it. Thank you again, Tom. Thank you for everyone who watched this both live and on the replay. I appreciate it. And LinkedIn, we're waiting for you.
See you
Ciao.
later.